opportunity came up, real estate knocked on our door, and then I was floored. I was like, you know what? I was like, honey, with my street smarts and your book smarts, we can take over the world.
There is no such thing as a stupid question, folks. Could believe they're stupid, but they're not.
The person thinks it's stupid, then you're talking to the wrong person. I'm just going to say, for the record, Hamilton tenants are a different breed. Messages, like, blowing up my phone, like, you effing landlord, I'm going to put you in your spot.
Oh, really?
3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm actually sitting in my family home where I grew up.
Nice.
I'm sitting in the room that used to be my bedroom.
Really?
When I was grinding. Full circle. 360.
Yeah, full circle.
And when I had the opportunity to create and make this an office, I was like, yes. Because where they say you started from the bottom.
Yeah.
That's my reminder. I was going to say something else. Sorry.
Very big. Very big. No, keep going with that.
I wanted to say 3 things.
That's what she said.
Welcome to the 3rd episode of The Real Side of Real Estate, where we keep it real and uncut. I'm super excited to have a friend of mine and an investor, a local investor in Hamilton, Jon Benitez on. Jon, how are you today, buddy?
Wonderful, man.
Nice to have you on, man. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
No worries, no worries. We've been trying to do this for a little while now.
Yeah, we have.
We finally made it happen.
Yes, I know.
Awesome,
I'm
awesome.
so pumped. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
So, Jon, tell me a little bit about yourself, brother. I know a little bit, but I know the audience wants to know. Tell me a little bit about your earlier days. Tell me about how you got started in this investing world.
Yeah.
And where you're at with right now.
Absolutely. Business-wise, I've always been an entrepreneur since I was 16.
Awesome.
I felt that I had to work for myself. I wasn't good working for the man. I don't know. It's just maybe my dreams were different. My vision was different. So, had a couple of businesses in the past. Got my feet wet, which was a great learning experience. Coming and segueing into real estate investing, right? Because that's another thing to learn and to pursue. So, we haven't looked back.
Awesome. Like, what kind of businesses were you in before? Like, this is very interesting stuff to know. Like,
this is good. This is good.
What kind of businesses are we talking about?
Okay, this might blow your mind because we were just talking about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
My first gig, my first business was at 16. I started my own DJing company.
DJing?
Yeah.
Really?
So I've been.
See, I didn't even know that. I had no idea.
I've been a DJ since I was 14, and when I hit 16, I'm like, yo, you know what? I gotta take this to the next level.
Wow. Like, are we talking about like hip hop DJing? Or are we talking about like house music, rave music?
Oh, I love house music, but I got hired for hip hop. Because of the golden era of hip hop, I'm very passionate about music. I can stay here for 8 hours and talk about music.
Me too, man. Me too.
Very passionate about music. So, my dad came up to me, he patted me on my back. He's like, "Hey, listen, would you want to do this like full time?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, do gigs. And then from that point on, we were just steady busy. Like every Saturday. Yeah, me and my pops would be sales. He'd be like getting the gigs. And then, fast forward, I opened up, my dad was like, he kind of branched off with his partner, and because I was DJing more downtown stuff.
Okay.
I was like a resident here, resident there. And then I was like, you know what, we can really, really crush the wedding scene. Because it's just, we see a lot of DJs out there, I'm not trying to toot my horn, but like I just see a lot of DJs that don't read crowds.
It's true. That's true.
Right? Like you can play your playlist.
100%.
But you have to read the crowd.
I agree with you 100%.
Because you could just play your playlist and no one's dancing.
Nobody likes it, right?
That's right. That's right. Oh, you gotta wait. I gotta finish my playlist first. No, it doesn't work that way, right?
For sure.
So me and my buddy, we were just like, you know what? Let's crush this. Let's start up our own thing. So we started up our own thing, and we were just crushing it. Like we were DJing every Saturday night. And it was like word of mouth. We became Nova Hotel's like resident DJ.
Wow.
So that was like our first thing. Like it was good coin, man. But the thing was, it was a Saturday night, right? Like, so your Saturday night's kind of shot, but it's okay. We made a lot of money and it was good. So that was like kind of like the first two gigs, and then the third one was more of I started my own printing company.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so t-shirts. We ran with it was a three partnership. We did we were very successful about like the fifth year. Um, but yeah, we tried to create our own brand. That didn't work. We ended up just what we did was we created three different t-shirt shops online. One of them was just like very successful. Like we
Awesome.
had
So
sales.
like screen printing stuff?
Yeah, but
Awesome.
the cool part was we did everything in house. There was no
Wow.
middleman.
Wow.
So I would sit down, I would design the T-shirt from scratch.
Oh, you design it too.
Design,
Oh,
press,
that's
no
that's
middleman,
interesting.
zero.
So there was no designers. You didn't pay extra.
We
for
were the designers.
Wow,
We were the artists.
That's amazing.
Because that was the reason why we wanted to do a T-shirt business, right? So we were the artists. So we would lace it on Illustrator, Photoshop, get it print ready. We had a whole lab. Yeah, we were doing the whole lab in my basement.
Damn, man.
So we were getting love in Qatar, Japan, France,
Wow.
Australia.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of people loved our T-shirts, man.
So
yeah.
you've been an entrepreneur for a while then. You've
That
been
was-
doing
I
your own
think
businesses for a
that
while.
was the first time I've actually tasted success. Like, cause like that's the thing where, as entrepreneurs, like you want to taste that. Like
For sure,
When
100%.
when will I taste it?
For sure.
So and then now in 2019. Like we there was an opportunity this was all my wife's idea, right? So Dee just knocks on she starts, trying to plant the seed. So as guys, we don't really listen, but then when you finally take the time, we were just talking about this with Karati, and then once it got to like sprout in my head, I'm like, okay, I get it now. Let's do it. So an opportunity came up, real estate knocked on our door, and then I was floored. I was like, you know what? I was like, honey, with my street smarts and your book smarts, we can take over the world.
For sure, 100%.
Right? So from 2019, we haven't looked back. Here we are now, right? So yeah.
That's amazing, man. Like, so you've done a couple of your own businesses. You've seen the highs, the lows of running a business, being an entrepreneur.
God, so many.
You've seen different types of characters, different types of people. Obviously, in the DJing gig, I'm sure you see it. In the print shop gig, you kind of see it. And now exploring into real estate, which is a new venture. Mm-hmm. It's a new creature. It's a complete new animal.
It's a new beast.
It's a new animal. And like jumping into real estate is a scary thing. It's you have to like, as guys, as you were saying before, like we analyze things so much. We overanalyze sometimes, right? Yeah. And women, the beauty of them is like they jump in and ask questions later sometimes.
They do.
And sometimes they kind of push the envelope faster than if you and I were to make a decision on our own. Because I remember myself buying my house. If it wasn't for my wife, I probably would have, we're okay where we are. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
They push the envelope and they do the right thing, because if they weren't giving us that push or that kick,
right,
we probably wouldn't have done it on our own, right?
It's true.
We probably be like,
true.
Next week, next month, we'll look at that. Mm-hmm. But that's awesome, man. You jumped into it. So tell me about your first experience, your first house that you guys bought. Like, how was that, the first investment?
So we studied, we learned off people.
That's awesome.
We took our time. So we Zoom called with people that were doing it. We talked to other investors that have, successful investors. How did you do it? What did you do? And it all bottom line is they just say, you just got to do it. You just got to jump in.
You got to jump in.
If it makes sense, then just jump in. So we jumped into the freaking fire. It was a fourplex in Hamilton with two. There was three, but we ended off with two on the sale, with two inherited tenants. Yeah, so
that must have been something interesting, getting inherited tenants from Hamilton. I've been here all my life.
Yeah,
I
the
love
demographic.
The city. I know the demographic.
You know the tenants.
I know the tenants.
Like, I'm just gonna say for the record, Hamilton tenants are a different breed. I'm just gonna say that. Like, that's why we're very, very strong and we have a lot of experience. So.
Yeah. No, and you know what? That's it's challenging when you
It
take
is.
on some tenants. You know, especially if you're inheriting, you don't know really what you're getting.
Oh, people thought we were crazy, man.
But that must have been experience on its own. So did you renovate that property? What did you guys end up doing?
Well,
with that?
we thought we were smart. We tried to wear all the hats.
Oh, you
So
tried to do everything
I
on
did.
your own.
I did the contracting work.
Uh-huh.
We did the property managing, like obviously.
Are you a handy guy? I didn't even ask.
I am a handy guy.
Perfect.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good
yeah,
then. Like you're trying it right. Why not? If you're a
Yeah,
handy guy,
exactly.
you got to
Yeah.
try it out, right?
Yeah, so I got my hands dirty, obviously, but it you know, coming from previous landlords, and then you come in, you know, they're already their guards were up.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
it you know your job as a landlord trying to trying to let them know that it's okay, it's gonna be good, you can put your guard down. But it took me I'd say about a year and a half to get that guard down, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So it was messages like blowing up my phone like you effing landlord, I'm gonna put you in your spot.
Oh, really?
3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Unprovoked
Yeah,
messages.
yeah, unprovoked, like just out of nowhere. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll take care of you. You don't worry about it. And then let's fast forward. Then we'll come back. Now the messages were, "Happy Easter, John. Hope you have a wonderful weekend." Yeah.
So you converted them.
I converted that.
That's hard on its own.
Oh my God!
It's
Especially if they have mental issues.
That's very hard, and
Yeah.
especially if you have to have like some kind of previous experience with the old landlord, they kind of put you in the same
They do.
you're
right.
circle. They don't really give you an opportunity to show that you're
Absolutely.
different.
No.
I've been in that situation where I've inherited tenants, so I know how that is, and I know how it is when it can go down south. It can get
easy.
bad easily, right?
Easy.
A little bit of composure is required.
Yeah, you need you need you got to be mentally tough.
Tough skin.
You got to
thick
have
skin.
thick, I mean, like thick skin, like thick. What I've learned is just when you're dealing with tenants, you just have to listen.
For
Like
sure.
just listen, sit there, listen, and just I call it the Japanese interpreter. So back in the day, let's talk about 80s films where there's a deal about to go down.
Yeah.
And then in the movie, and then you have the American holding like this crazy briefcase with a handcuff, and then this Japanese guy comes out of nowhere with a briefcase and a handcuff, and then he's got an interpreter, right? So the interpreter is talking to the American. Okay, so you got the money, I got the money, yeah. So a deal's about to go down, but little does the American know that the Japanese knows how to speak perfect English, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. You gotta pretend you don't know how to speak English. So you listen, and then you go, "I'll get back to you," and it works.
You're killing me.
It works, man.
You're
It
killing
works.
me.
It totally works because you don't want to give a decision on emotion. So you gotta take that
and
back.
You're absolutely correct.
Right?
You know
gotta
what?
Take that back.
You're absolutely correct, and I've been guilty of giving replies when they got in your emotion, right? And you're just like, why? Like, why are you being this way towards me? You can't understand and comprehend.
Yeah.
But then you kind of got to take a step back and say, hey, maybe there's a previous experience with the previous landlord, previous owner, where they kind of put you in the same mix of that without giving you an opportunity. They're just judging you by your cover kind of thing, right?
Pretty much, right? Yeah.
But you got to keep your composure.
You do. And I think that's it. I think number one is have the thick skin, keep your composure. Don't hit send until you're ready to hit send. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely correct. So do you still have that in your portfolio, or?
We do. The fourplex has been, I think it's my favorite property. Because not only because we wore the hats, not only because we refinanced it many times, but it's our golden egg. But I've learned so much on that property. So that's why it's called the golden egg, because I learned a lot of golden stuff.
You know what? I heard you say you did a lot of the contracting yourself.
I did.
So now
I still do, actually.
I'm gonna ask you.
I still do.
What is the funniest thing that you encountered? What is let's talk about some of the funny stuff and some of the challenging things that you encountered when you were doing these renovations. Because you know what? I've done a little bit here and there myself. And, you know, the things that we go through make us who we are.
No, absolutely.
And I'm sure you could think of something that you went through for that first property. Because our first is always the one that you learn on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because you wear all the hats on the first one.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
try to get as much done by yourself or
Exactly.
on your own or your
Exactly.
partners or whatever. And then you realize that, yeah, this is not for me.
So did you learn something from a particular occurrence or an event that happened that was just like,
Every
this is
day.
not for me? Or was it just like the amount of work that was involved?
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I find that having 2 inherited tenants was a lot of work. It was, there was a point where, you know, it was taking a toll on me, like mentally.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And you were renovating the other units?
Correct. Yeah.
In the duration of having these
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that could be tough. And then them probably complaining, right?
Yes.
That's
They
an
weren't
understatement.
happy. Yeah, they weren't happy every day. I became
boy.
their psychologist. Where the point where she would call me crying.
Oh,
right?
boy.
Yeah, so it was, you have to, you know, you got to just know what to say.
And that's amazing. And now you're at a point with them where they're like, Happy Easter.
Yes. Yeah. Because
That's a huge corner you turned.
Oh, huge.
Because like that could have went south very easily.
Oh, I know.
And it just takes one thing.
Easy.
And it's triggered, and you know, the emotions get involved, and
So it was just you can train your tenants. You can. So I did. It took a long time, but I did. But look what I had to play with. The slumlord. Oh, it's not slumlord. Sorry, the landlord.
It's okay, man. We're raw and
The
uncut.
landlord.
If he was a slumlord,
Well-
call him a slumlord.
Well,
man. Don't be
it
a
was
nice
just
guy.
because it was just the way the building looked. So I had accidentally slipped. Okay. So they had their guard up because what you said.
Yeah.
Previous landlord, right?
Makes sense.
They're not going to take you serious till you sit down and you talk to them over and over again. So that's what I did. You know.
That's amazing because you know what? I've been in that situation, and I've tried to take that road sometimes, and sometimes it's very difficult. They make it very difficult.
They do,
sometimes.
and they want to.
And I feel like they're
They
trying to
want
set you up for failure.
That's it is. No, that's because they want you to feel how they feel, and that's their. You know, we have different upbringings, right?
Yeah.
You got to imagine where they grew up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying this is why they're like that.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to, you know, just say. You have to accept it. Like, okay, if they're a dick, then they're a dick. But how do I turn that around, right? Like. And the
100%.
only way is if you sit there and you listen. Japanese interpreter.
100%.
So I kept doing that. So all those messages, right, that I got on my phone, you effing this, effing that, I would show it to them. And I'd be like, did you want to explain this? Because everybody's tough behind a keyboard.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Easy.
Of course.
Like reviews. Oh, the food was not. It was shit. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
But is it though? Maybe you were there on like me. Like, are you? You know what I mean? Like, you got to think about putting that review. When you put that review down, you know, like that's there forever.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. But you know what I mean, right?
Of
So
course.
I would show them the message when you meet face to face with them.
It's a different conversation.
Oh, it is.
Oh, I know. I've been there, and sometimes they avoid you face to face
because they messaged you. They feel they can't back up what they just said.
Yeah, they try their best to avoid you.
Again, emotion on hitting the send button.
Yeah, right? And like you try to catch them off guard. You're camping in the car. I've been there. I've done that. So you learned a lot from this. You got we like to call it earning your stripes. You earned your stripes. You might even got a PhD in psychology.
I did. Oh, I did. It's certified. It's framed in my wall.
So anybody that needs help, guys, contact Jon. He'll take care of your tenants for you. On and off the record, contact Jon. Slip into the DM. We'll give you his information.
That's it.
He could definitely help you out. Okay, he'll train your tenants.
Certified.
So that's great because you know, like we going back to jumping into the real estate game.
Yes.
and you jumped into a tricky one. You jumped into like level 3.
I did.
You didn't jump into level 1, which is just
No.
a standard single family home.
Yeah.
You jumped into the fourplex.
Yeah.
Which is like a couple levels above, and then you jumped into something with pre-existing tenants.
Yeah.
Which nobody really is trained to deal with that, right? Like, there's no course you can take that could train you how to deal with inheriting tenants.
Yeah.
I have yet to hear of one. Have you heard of anything?
No.
If you guys hear of anything, please let us know.
Please share. Comment in the comment box.
Below because I have not. And it kind of makes you or breaks you. And it obviously, it made you, right?
Well said.
It obviously encouraged you to think that, hey, if I could deal with level 3, I'm ready to deal with level 6 and 7 and 8. Right. And that brings me to today, where today you're dealing with level 8, if we call it an 8-plex, correct?
Correct.
So you have an 8-plex on the go. So how's that going? Tell us a little bit about that.
We're dealing with a redevelopment 8-unit project that we're working on right now, and it has been, I'm going to say, game changer. Because we had, again, like, all we do is learn, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We've been learning every day on this project. Like, we had to pivot, because I was telling me and Karati, we were just talking actually. We had to pivot because when we bought the building, and you're an agent, so you know this. When we bought the building, it made sense, and that was like, what, a year ago? Yeah, I think so. Now it completely doesn't make sense. So with the rates and all that, we had to go back to the drawing board and say, like, what are we going to do with this project? How are we going to make it work? Mm-hmm. So I sat down with the wife. I was like, D, let's turn this into a home run. Okay, it's not a home run, obviously, on the first, but it's a single double, but let's turn it into one. So how do we pivot? We get involved. How do we do it? Let's figure it out. Right?
So get involved as in, like, you GC in the project?
Yeah, so like hard and soft GC, so boots on the ground as well.
Awesome.
We hired a GC as well. He's boots on the ground 24/7.
Great.
So he's just been a blessing, right? But what we did was a whole year of I just interviewed trades. Okay.
Well, and you know what? Yeah. That itself.
Yeah.
Is a job.
It is. So it is.
I've went through the ringer with that. I think that's one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
And I flip properties.
Elaborate, because people don't know about this.
Guys, everybody knows how to do everything. When you hire them, and I'm sure you've experienced this, you take on a framer, and the framer's like, I could do this and I could do that. They may specialize in framing, but they're like, I could do tiling, I could do this and I could do that, because they constantly want more and more work, right? But when you come check their work and you see that the tiles are off, or you see like grout hasn't been done properly, spacers haven't been used, you're like, well, you told me you can do that. Well, I'll fix it. Like, but it's costing you time and money and energy going through this. And you know, when you first start, you like to give everybody the benefit of the doubt,
yeah,
right?
You do. You have to.
I don't know if you've experienced that, but I've experienced that with somebody recommended me to a contractor, and I'm like, yeah, well, if they're recommended,
then yeah,
what could go wrong?
It's better than a Google review.
John, I have got into fistfights with contractors. Oof. I've got into arguments. John, I've been in my property and saying, where are you? And they're like, we're working in your property.
Oh, shit.
And that's I'm like, I'm standing in the living room in my property, and your tools are locked up in front of me.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to get a sandwich from the corner store.
Like, I'm on lunch.
Why are you lying for? Like, it's so going back to what you're saying with the contractors, that's probably one of the hardest things to vet, a contractor, because they can show you pictures of other people's work.
They can.
They can show you pictures that they've got off Google.
Yeah, they can.
Like, how do
they
you
can.
verify without actually going to see them work?
Yeah.
So I want to hear the story about vetting contractors because I just told you a little bit of what I went through, and I've flipped properties.
We all go through it, man.
And I flipped properties for a while now, and I've seen stuff, man, that I got stories for days with contractors. I've had people working at night, getting the city called on me, and like,
it blows my mind because these contractors, they want to stay busy, but they do stunts like this. They'll never get busy. They're done. So that's what blows my mind is you got to vet your contractors.
Yeah.
You got to ask 1,000 questions. And you will know as you're asking these questions, you will know if they know their shit, right?
100%.
So, and then if it takes, look at their work, right? Don't just look at pictures. You can look at pictures; they'll show you. But, if you want, like, look at their stuff, right? That's if it's not word of mouth. If you just found somebody on Google or found someone like that you just met. Mm-hmm. I would vent that person to the grain, before, and go with your gut. Like if your gut's telling you, like in conclusion that I could trust this guy, then go for it. But you have to do your homework. You have to do 100%, your homework, right? 100%. Like we've run into contractors where they had a crazy Instagram.
Yeah.
Right, but that's different. Like how are they how are they face to face? Can they deliver? Deliver is the word for me for contractors. Like, can they deliver? And
in a timely manner.
I read this in a book. I don't know. You could disagree where you give them 3 strikes.
Yeah.
So I did try this on a plumber and it did work. This guy came, I think, because of our electrician. He's been working with me for so long. A plumber. They kind of see each other on the job sites, and he's like, "Yeah, you should let me introduce you to John." So he introduced me to him, and I gave him 3 strikes, and I think that he failed, obviously, on the first, the second, the third, and then he was just like, "Where are the big jobs?" Well, I can't give you the big jobs if you can't even handle the small jobs, right?
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. So I did. I test them out. I always test them out, and then communication is huge, right? Like, they're just
keeping their word.
Exactly.
Keeping their word.
Keeping their word is where I think that's it boils down to.
100%.
Right? Is keeping their word, and then again delivery. Like, okay, like let's, now that we've composed our communication and we're ready to hire you. Mm-hmm. Let's just see the delivery.
Right? Yeah. 100%.
And then if you're not happy, then whatever. Even if it's the job is like halfway done, just tell them like, yo, it's okay.
One of the things I want to add, big thing I learned through my experiences. I don't know if you've learned this. Don't overpay. Mm-hmm. So some contractors come in gun ho. Give me 50% up front.
Oh shoot. Yeah.
And it's then you're having to chase work.
Yeah.
And
I
they
gave
took
you 50%.
And they took your 50%. Yeah. But then they have these side jobs.
Yeah.
So you're trying to locate these guys to come do your job, and they've already been overpaid for what they've done.
Yeah.
They may have done not even a quarter of the work, but they got 50% of the money. So they're not motivated. Mm-hmm. So they're not motivated to come back and do your job. 50%. So these are things you learn as an amateur investor, guys. Like, these are things you learn through your first project, your second project, and you learn that you cannot overpay on a project, a balance, or a deposit, because then you're chasing for work. You rather want the contractor to have a scheduled payment plan, a milestone, if you will, right? Mm-hmm. So you hit this milestone, you get this much. You hit this milestone, you get this much. Right. I think that's the fairest way for yourself as an investor and the contractor. Yeah. Because now they look forward to hitting that milestone to get paid, and you're looking forward to that work getting done to pay them. Right. So these are things you learn through your experiences. Yeah. And as a brand new investor, you learn the hard way.
You do. You do. And you got to be transparent.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be transparent. When we got this GC, He's a good friend of ours now. We were just transparent. We're like, hey, no hard feelings. If it doesn't work out in a month, we just shake hands and walk away.
And you have to
Right?
be, yeah. You have to be like,
Yeah.
like it's a business you're running. At the end
And
of the
I
day.
think that's what it is. Like these contractors have to like take the emotion out. It's a business at the end of the day.
And I noticed that there's, you know what? Like, I noticed that
Emotions.
these contractors are very in their feelings, very emotional, and you wouldn't expect that out of these rugged,
know.
raw
Yeah.
contractors, blue collar guys. But
Yeah, you think they're rough.
you did this wrong. You questioning my work?
Mm-hmm.
No, man. You did it wrong. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the standard code is this way. You did it
Yeah.
wrong. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I get it. You know, be passionate about what you do. Be passionate about your work, which is great. But if you do something wrong and someone says you did it wrong, just take the constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Fix the issue. Resolve the issue, because at the end of the day, you want to keep your client happy.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
And to keep your client happy, you get more work. Right?
That's it. Yeah.
Me as a realtor, I've done things for clients that I wouldn't have done for other people, but I've done it for them to stay happy.
Yeah.
And for them to think of me when they're making the next purchase or selling the next property.
Same thing.
Right? So,
same thing as being a contractor. That's the exact same thing.
so you have to kind of not be short-sighted.
Yeah.
And kind of look at the big picture. Like, this person could be my ticket to the next level.
Yeah.
Right? If I take care of this person, then
That's
that
it.
person will take care of me with their network, right?
That's it.
And I could get super busy.
Yeah.
And I could get much bigger than I am and level up. But yeah, like these are the things that you learn, right? When you're going through your process.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I wanted to touch on, which is a very interesting topic of, you know, as an investor, is getting in bed with the right investors, getting in bed with the wrong investors, right? Like JVing, joint ventureship, if people are wondering what that means, is like partnership, right?
Yes.
It's very hard.
Oh, it's a marriage.
It's very hard to read someone through one meeting, or it's very hard to kind of get in bed with someone after one lunch, because on the first lunch everybody looks pretty.
It's it.
Everybody looks great.
You know, yeah, exactly. You know you're gonna look good on that first date. You know
you're out to impress, right?
Man, for sure.
And
You're gonna buy a whole new outfit, get a fresh haircut,
smell
you know,
good,
you gotta-
look
yeah,
good.
you gotta sell
nails
yourself.
done,
You gotta sell
nails
yourself.
done, hair done,
That's it,
everything
man.
big.
That's it, man. I'm gonna get lucky tonight, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but are you gonna look like that in a few months?
That's what I mean. Exactly.
So
exactly, right?
So I've encountered this myself, John, and I want to ask you if you've encountered it. I've encountered it with partnerships where you start off on the same page, right? And you think that you make an assumption that your partner is kind of like you. You know what I mean? In terms of the business, right?
Right.
And then when things are going great, oh, they love you. Oh, I love this guy. I love this guy.
When
You know
things
what I
are
mean?
going great.
When things are going great. But when the interest rate jumps up 10 to 12 times.
Yeah.
And
Emotions
emotions
arise.
are in, like when COVID starts, when everybody thinks it's the end of the world,
Yeah.
right? And people are panicking. That's like the true character comes out of someone, right? Like what really is inside them, right? It's because it's a test, it's a challenge,
It is.
it's a hurdle. How do you deal with it? Some are calm, collective, have composure, right? And kind of navigate through the rough times and the rough patches. And some just panic. They're like, sell everything. I don't care. We gotta, we have to lose. We have to lose. And you're, if you're the composed one, calm down. No, we'll get through this. It's not the end of the world. And going back to what we were talking about, getting in bed with people you don't really know. You really don't know until that happens.
No.
And it's really hard
You don't.
to kind of assume
You don't.
someone is like you, composed, or if someone is the type that panics, right?
You gotta live with that person before you get married, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? It can't just be one lunch and we're in business together.
No.
You kind of got to
gotta
go out
be-
with them. You got to kind of get to know them,
You gotta know them in and out.
right? Like personality wise, and get to know what you're dealing with, right? Because you don't want to be in a situation where the market has changed so much. We've all experienced it.
Oh,
And you have a
shifted
partner
hard.
that's just like,
Yeah.
you fire sale.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I spent all this time doing all this work,
Yeah.
and you want a fire sale?
Yeah.
And imagine being a GC at that situation in your joint partnership and being the working partner and they're the money partner.
Mm-hmm.
The money partner, of course, they're losing money. It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're the working partner, you're losing time.
Yeah, you're losing
You're
time.
losing energy,
A lot of energy.
investment,
Mm-hmm.
and money. So you're losing on all fronts.
You are.
And
Over an emotional decision.
and it's hard to kind of relay things will get better when things are so bad.
No, that's
And
true.
it's like, where do you go from there? Like,
That's the game of being an investor, though.
and that's the thing, right? Like, you learn from every level,
You
right? And when you're boots on the ground like you are yourself, you learn
Oh,
right
you know-
there,
you
right
know-
then.
you know-
You
yeah,
know what
exactly.
I
There-
mean? You're in the game.
you don't
You're
miss a beat.
you're in the game.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if you have a money investor, they're not so in the game.
No,
They just hear whispers.
they do.
It's like, kind of like when you're an agent and you find the perfect property for someone, and then their father comes in, they're like, well, I'll do an inspection. Are you a qualified inspector? No, I'm not. But I used to build homes in Italy in 1940. Great.
Yeah.
What kind of material did you use in 1940? Was there insulation? Was there drywall?
Yeah.
Were you guys using plaster?
Yeah.
So it's like, everybody has an opinion, right?
Yes.
About what you should do and shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So the thing about, our podcast and, having investors like yourself, experienced investors on, is to find out, from your perspective, and you've probably partnered with people, you've probably seen this as I've seen it, where they're getting all this stuff in their head, and it's like, and you're like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
I'm boots on the ground. Ask me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I'm not gonna hide or deny anything.
Yeah.
I'm kind of caught off guard where all these things are coming into your head, and it's like you're hearing it from the media. It's doomsday. Everything's going over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bitcoin's crashing, and COVID, and it's the end of the world, and it's all this doomsday that's been put in their head, and there's other people that are having that effect too, and usually those things are coming from people that have absolutely no experience.
No experience. No.
So, have you ever dealt with that, John? Like, this is something that a lot of investors deal with, right?
A lot.
Where you're doing your thing, and then you got people either in your ear or in your wife's ear saying, it's doomsday, you should sell, and you should, you know what I mean? Like, how do you navigate that?
Well, there's a lot of emotions. It's like fireworks right now, right?
Yeah.
Because of the rates.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts. We get it, right? Everything has doubled. But, these are the people that, that are not a match. They don't suit what you need. A true partner should fill your gaps, and then you fill their gaps, right? So, you can't make emotional decisions, right? So that's what happens, right? Going back to your stories, but you have to know who you're dealing with. If you're going to partner up with someone, you have to know who you're going into bed with, because again, I tell everybody, we were just talking about this, it's a marriage, right? You have to date, right? You have to date each other. Go for dinner, go for lunches, build that relationship. And it feels like it's still not a fit, like maybe business-wise, but what about personal-wise?
That's true. So you got a great point there.
We just talked about this,
that's
right?
a great point.
A coworker, great. It's a great comparison.
Mm-hmm.
There's coworkers that you can go out with drinks with, okay? You have the business relationship and you have the personal relationship. To me, that's a great partner, because they'll understand the business and they'll understand your personal. Right?
100%.
Having an emotional decision on selling right now because you're emotional, that to me, that's like, they're not. Go back to the numbers.
100%.
Talk to your partner. Let's go back to the numbers. Let's see, like, can we make this work?
Go back to the drawing board,
That's
right?
it. Go back to the drawing board. But see, like, that's, to me, unfortunately, if that happens to you, then that's not the right fit.
100%.
So yeah, going back, partnerships, yeah, this stuff does happen. You do learn off it. So what we do is we just take our time, we coast. We hang out with people, and there's going to be people that you resonate with, right? There's going to be
100%.
people that you're going to love to be around.
100%.
Okay, then there's like, okay, like, how is it now? Can we actually do a deal together? Again, it goes back to the coworker, right? Can we go for a drink after work? Can I open up to you? Can we do this? Can we start a business together? Because that's what it is.
That's true.
That's what a partnership is. That's what a
100%.
JV is. It's a partnership.
100%.
So yeah, it does take work, but
it takes work. You know what? And maybe that's why there's not too many young people getting married nowadays, because they don't want to put in the work, right? It is a lot of work.
Yes.
And you and I both know dating is a lot of work too.
It is.
It is. Dating multiple people, like getting to know new investors.
Do they have a real estate Tinder?
I don't know. We should make one.
Oh, there you go.
We should make a real estate Tinder. John's real estate Tinder.
Looking for partners. Long walks on the beach.
Let's talk about real estate and bubble baths.
I love turtles. I love multi-units. Yeah.
So that's great, man. Like, so I know you guys were having get-togethers, eh? You and Diana, like investor get-togethers.
Yeah, we do.
How's that going for you guys?
Oh my God, it's amazing. We love bringing people together. It's one of our core values, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we just love the energy that you're getting from people, and I highly recommend it to anybody, any investor, any entrepreneur, because there's going to be times where, especially, well, let's say investing, it's a roller coaster, man.
100%.
And you know that, right?
100%.
So when you do dip down, like, what do? Your friends are not going to understand you. Investors will. So
the investors speak the same language as you, right?
That's it.
They understand, and they understand what ROI means. They understand what cap rates mean.
You can't tell your freaking...
I can't call my sister and be like, the cap rates are, exactly.
That's it. You can't tell your boy, yo, I'm having a problem with this tenant. Like, can you help me? No. They're like, you gotta be in the room with people that are doing it, and people that can, like, have the same mindset, have a mind frame. So, like, that's why we like to bring people together, because if you're in a bind, like, these people are going to pick you up. They're going to pick you up, and, you're going to feel that, why am I doing this? Mm-hmm. Am I in the right direction? Mm-hmm. These people will help you. Right? So
that's amazing on its own. Like, and it's a lonely business. It's a lonely business. It's just like real estate, to be honest with you.
No, you hit it on the head, because me and Dee are a partnership. We're husband and wife, married couple, business partners at the same time. But there is times where you're going to feel alone, right? Because you have to, you wear you wear different hats, like, being with your business partner, right? You have your, you delegate, like, what you do and what she does. Mm-hmm. But there's going to be times where, I'm failing at what I do. So it's like, hey, I feel alone. So you got to reach out. You got to reach out to people, and you got to, pick yourself up, dust it off, that, okay, this is, I'm learning.
100%. And that's great that you guys created that. And there's a need for it, right? And there's a need for like-minded individuals to come together and share ideas, brainstorm. I have this problem, I don't know how to solve it. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think? There may be somebody in that network that's went through it. There may be somebody in that network that's going through it.
That's it.
And unless you reach out and have these events or get the gatherings, or how would you know?
Exactly.
How would you know? And like,
how would you know?
And like, you may be in a room full of people that are like-minded and you would love to partner up with. And you may be in a room with people that you'd love to just be friends with, right? So like... It. So it's not just always business. There's, you become friends with people, right? You connect with people, and just like you and I connected when we met, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're like, oh man, I felt like I known this guy for years.
Just for the record, when we met, It felt like we grew up in the same neighborhood.
There you go.
It was just
It's like
instant connection. I don't think we. Yeah, I think we talked the whole night.
the whole night.
Yeah, even freaking Carity too, man.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, and that's the connection you get with these events, because that was an event where we met at, right? And like, you know, and I'm happy that you're doing these events. You know what I mean? I love to be part of some of your events, the future events coming up, and anything that you guys are looking to do.
And you're the man when it comes to events.
Yeah, we're gonna be planning stuff together. We're gonna be. I'm sure there's people out there that are starting out that don't know where to turn.
Absolutely.
And they could use your expertise, my expertise, the other investors' expertise.
For sure.
Because everybody has different levels, right? Everybody's on a different level. Right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And
different speed limits.
Exactly. And I may be on one level, you may be on another level. Mm-hmm. There might be X, Y, Z that are on higher levels than us or lower levels than us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. If we're all in the same room, all in it for the same reason, for each other's success.
Yeah.
There's a saying, your network
is your net worth.
Is your net worth,
yeah.
Right? So if you got that network, now it becomes more of a passion, right? Than kind of a business. Mm-hmm. And anytime you're passionate about something, you'll be very successful with it.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not, you're kind of,
you believe in it.
You're believing in it. You're kind of in your head, you're obsessed with it.
That's it.
It becomes an obsession.
It's an obsession.
You know, and like that obsession becomes like a perfection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you become OCD of this, right?
110%.
So when you're in a room full of people like that, right? You're just gonna get better.
You are.
When you're in a room full of bodybuilders, you're gonna get stronger,
built.
Right? So going back to that point, I have friends that are all bodybuilders. I'm the smallest guy, and I'm like, I'm going to gym with these guys. Because I want to look like these guys.
That's it.
Right? Yeah. So when I want to get involved in the investing world, I want to be part of the bodybuilders of investing.
That's it.
Because I want to be like that. Right? So it's not bad for anybody to reach out. And you know what I mean? And people are timid.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, they're a little timid, right?
I get it. If you're introvert or, you're very timid and you don't have the confidence, but I'll tell you right now, a conversation could change your life. You just got to get out of that comfort zone.
100%.
And then, especially if you're in a bind and you need someone to answer your question, you got to come out. You got to just lay it out there. And the mindset is just amazing. Like, these people are here. They want to, help you grow.
And that's amazing. That's fantastic, right? Like, if somebody has an issue about a tenant, call Jon. Jon...
Certified PhD, bro.
Jon will come in.
Play a hated degree.
Jon will come in and he'll tame your tenant.
He can give you pointers.
Yeah, give you pointers. Yeah. We're just joking about it, but that experience that you went through, that is invaluable for someone coming up, right? Someone that's that's like trying to buy a property. There's a tenant in there.
Yes.
What should I do? What could I do?
Yeah.
They're pushing everything, they're pushing all the right notes to get me, and I want to not lose my cool. I want to make it work out. And I want to go through the processes. Yeah. So if they know that Jon's went through it, they're going to tap into Jon at an event. Hey, Jon, can I have a few minutes with you? Like, what did you do when this happened? And you're going to probably laugh. Like, oh my God, I remember when that went through.
I've been there, done that.
You're like,
and
okay.
I'm here to help you.
And I'm here to help you. And that's the thing. I find with these investors and these groups, most of them are very nice and kind people. And they're here to help. And it's like...
They are.
It's like having Jordans on your team, like Michael Jordan. And you're like, oh man, I want to learn from the best,
Yeah.
And... You go to Jordan, like, how do you do it? Jordan's going to be hard on you, but he's going to teach you.
But it's the truth.
Right? It's the truth.
Yeah.
And you don't win 6 rings
no.
without being obsessed.
That's true.
Right? And passionate, right?
Yeah. Obsessed is a great word. I think it's underrated. I like how you brought that up, because when you're obsessed with something, you eventually get it because you're obsessed with it. Because you believe in it, you live it, you breathe it. And let's go back. Think about the last time you were obsessed with something. I bet you any money that you have it in your hand now. Yeah. So I like that.
Yeah, and you know what? The other thing is, you should never give up. You're gonna have setbacks. You're gonna have hurdles. You're gonna have issues, and when it rains, it pours, John. When it rains,
it does.
Freaking pours.
Real estate is like that. It comes in waves.
It pours.
It does.
You
pour.
could go from a rock star
Yeah.
wearing boots and a hat and nothing else with a Hawaiian shirt, selling everything $200,000-300,000 over asking price.
No.
To nothing moving.
That's right.
And
losing millions, losing thousands. Like,
you could have a property that made sense at one point.
That's right.
With your story, and then it now doesn't make sense. Now, how do you navigate through this journey of making it a home run instead of a single, right? So I think the take that, we are giving our viewers now is don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't ever give up.
Never.
Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Learn from your lessons. Learn from your mistakes. Yeah. Learn from your hurdles.
Because remember, you have to fail in order to be successful.
You have to fail.
You have to.
Talking about Michael Jordan, he failed making his high school team.
That's it.
So what did he do? He went home, started training.
That's it.
And training, and came back.
Use it as fuel.
And he was a 6-time, champion, right? And he probably would have won more if he didn't retire.
The GOAT. Yeah, I know.
So at the end of the day, you can't give up, and don't be timid to ask people for help. I was at one point timid to ask people for help.
I think we were all.
And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to look stupid asking these stupid questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question, folks.
No, there isn't.
Questions are questions. You could believe they're stupid, but they're not.
If the person thinks it's stupid, then you're talking to the wrong person.
Yeah. you need to ask these questions, right? Imagine all these questions that you had, starting out. Imagine all the questions. I asked a million questions, like home inspectors, contractors, mortgage brokers. I probably drove them nuts.
But that's what it is. That's what we do, is we just learn constantly, right?
Yeah.
It's just questions after questions after questions. And you learn more when you get these questions answered, right?
And exactly. And that goes back to the investors, right? These investors helping, they actually learn more helping.
Yes.
You're learning helping people.
You do, yeah.
And I remember having newer agents on my team and me teaching them. I was learning more of what to teach and what not to teach by teaching them, right? Yeah. So as an investor yourself, if someone came to you for mentorship, you could tell them, I went through this and I went through that, but now since then I've refined it, so I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So you're actually saving people a ton of time.
And money loss.
Money loss, headaches, sleepless nights. You know what I mean?
Sleepless nights.
The only time they're gonna have sleepless nights if they have a new baby.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Cheers to that.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Thank you so much, brother.
Congratulations.
But yeah, it's an amazing feeling, and I'm super grateful to go through it. Of course, you have 2 children yourself.
I have.
You know how it is.
Oh yeah. To balance the life, yeah.
And
gotta hustle.
And that's the whys. When they ask you, what's your why?
Yeah.
It's family.
It is.
It's kids. It's your wife. It's
family.
It's providing for them.
For me, it's family, yeah.
It's providing for them, right? Like they say, what are you going to teach your kids? So, everything I know.
That's it. No, that's it.
Like think about, all the stuff you went through in your life, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want them to go through the hardships, right?
Yeah, so they're kind of lucky because we've it's kind of like we're giving them the golden tips, right? Where it's like they will not listen, but if you keep feeding it to them,
it'll stay in the back of their mind.
It will. Yeah, it will. And then now it's like, oh shoot, yeah, my dad was saying.
John, let's be honest, we never listened either.
No.
We never listened. No. But it was in the back of our heads.
It was.
And all of the lessons that we were taught growing up from our parents, we're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But when we finally hit that age where we're like,
where it starts to absorb.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh. Yeah. And then you get to the point that okay, I gotta start to steer away from this life and steer into that life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm gonna drown in a different situation.
Right.
But if it wasn't for all of those repetitive times, your parents are saying to you, do this, do this.
Yeah.
And the love they've given you, the unconditional love, where would you be? Where would I be?
Yeah.
I'm actually sitting in my family home. This is where I grew up.
Nice.
I'm sitting in the room that used to be my bedroom.
Really?
When I was grinding.
Nice.
To make it, and
oh, that's
it's
sweet.
Full circle, 360.
Yeah, full circle.
And when I had the opportunity to create and make this an office, I was like, yes, because where they say you started from the bottom.
Yeah.
That's my reminder. My reminder is, this is where you started.
Nice.
And now on the new journey of, building a team with a new company.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start here.
That's awesome, man.
Because this is my bedroom.
That's awesome.
So
Holy
it's a
smokes.
story to it, right?
Yeah,
this is
man.
that's the story.
Yeah.
I didn't share it. I just shared it right now with everyone. This is the story behind
this
crazy. Office, this podcast, this everything. And when it goes back to it, it reminds me of that Drake song, started from the bottom, now you're here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I remember being that troubled kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Your childhood.
Yeah. I wasn't that blessed that I didn't have my father around so much. So I had to figure it out on my own.
You were the man.
And that was tough, man. It was tough, you know what I mean? And what doesn't break you makes you, right?
Yeah, it does.
And all of the obstacles you deal with, you become a little bit more mature.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, so, absolutely.
So, sure. As a father...
Because you're forced.
Exactly. Right? And this comes up because we're fathers now, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we don't want our kids to go through anything.
No.
They are going to experience things in their lives.
And you have to get their hands dirty, too.
Like, yeah,
you got it. They got it.
And you know what? It's a thin line, eh? Like, trying not to spoil them and, like...
It is because, it sounds like we grew up, like, the same way. You kind of... Like, I never got anything. I got, like, here or there. I had to work for everything for myself. I had to work to get what I wanted. So there is the thin line where it's just like, okay, I really want to get my son this. And it's like, how do I get him to work for it?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to use the old school and the new school. Because they, kids are
you gotta redefine it.
You do, because kids are different now.
Yeah.
They get what they want. They get
right away.
Now. They didn't grind like we did. So I kind of want to implement that hustle and that grind.
Mm-hmm.
I just do it mentally, but when it gets to the point where they get older, it's like, okay, let's do some physical now, right? Just to get to, so that they know how it feels.
Yeah. And you know what? It's got to be refined from our times, because our times it was just a no mentality.
Yeah.
It was like, can I? No. Can I? No. Can I? No. It was just no. Yeah. And now we're in a generations like yes. And,
sensitive.
And it's very, very, sensitive. And it's like, my 4-year-old knows how to go on the phone, go to YouTube, and find what he's looking for. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I know we grew up in a different time. We didn't have these phones and the technology and any of that,
we had
right?
Bikes.
My first phone I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was no internet.
That wasn't a smartphone.
There was nothing smart about it, right? And you just throw it. Like, you didn't cherish it so much. So it's a lot to navigate. It's not a lot to navigate with the investing side. It's a lot to navigate with the family side.
Yeah.
And to kind of balance the work life.
Yeah.
That's something on its own.
Oh, it's huge to navigate. And we both have families, so I'll say it. Yeah, how do you balance that, right? Because here you are, you're grinding. Kudos to you, man. Your phone's always blowing up. But, like, how do you balance that out, right? You have kids, you have, you want to provide, but you also want to make them happy still. So there's, like, a balance there, right?
Yeah, and it's difficult. Like in our father's generation, our moms probably work part-time or whatever, right? But in this generation, both parents have to work.
Yeah.
And it's tough, man. It's tough. Like, balancing things. Like, I seen something on Instagram a couple days ago. It's like, you can't balance life if you want to be the best. It's true. Because there's going to be a void. Yeah. Like, when I was striving to be the best possible agent, and I was doing well. I was, to my perspective, I was killing it. Mm-hmm. There was a void. The void was that family life. Mm-hmm. That void was my wife. Mm-hmm. At that time, it was just me and my wife. Mm-hmm. And she sacrificed so much for me. I love her to death. I love you to death. But she sacrificed, right? You know, but now when you have kids, like you can't like you can't miss the early ages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't miss like 1 to 4.
No.
You can't miss the newborn stages. You can't miss when
Yeah.
they start
You
talking
can't get that
and
time
walking.
back, man.
And like
that's why.
and you've been through it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and your kids are a little bit older.
Yeah.
So you look back at those times, you're probably like, wow, you're probably around for those, right? Like you're.
I was working a 9 to 5 job, and it was like really, really. Well, it was hard to get time off. Like, you know, it was very, you know, management was just very challenging. So there was times where my son had like his Christmas recital and stuff like that, and I wasn't able to make it.
Oh, that must have killed you.
It kills me so much now. So now with being, you know, full time in the business, I have that flexibility now, but I can't get that time back. So I'm trying to like, you know, kind of like
make up for it,
make
right?
up for it.
Yeah.
But so, you know, for you know, for people that are listening that are balancing and hustling with family, it's you gotta do the best that you can to try to balance it out.
100%.
But if you can, try to spend as much time as possible, because, you know, in a snap they grow up so fast, and it's just, you'll look back and you'll be like, okay, like you don't want to regret it.
100%.
Right? At least have less regrets.
Yeah.
Where you just have to balance that out in a way where, yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, you gotta make up time, and like something that people don't really recognize is your kids are your investment too.
Yeah, they're our wise.
You know, like
Right.
it's a huge like what they want is just time.
It is.
They don't even want anything else.
They don't care about anything.
You think that like they care about the presents? Yeah, they'll get sick of it. They want something new.
Right.
But that hour of spending with them at the park, or that, you know, hour going out to get ice cream,
Huge.
they remember that
They will.
for a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They will.
Yeah. And the beauty of being self-employed is you can do these things. You could be flexible. Like I had an appointment with my kids today, and I don't even know how my wife would have did it with a newborn and a 4-year-old without me being there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, kudos to the moms that have to deal with more than one kid, or even one kid. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
And like they're working full time there, and you're like working full time here, and you're trying to figure out what you can do, right? So, family is very important. Family over everything, of course. And the reason that we hustle so hard is for family. That's the why.
That is the why.
You know, when they ask you what's your why,
beacon.
but you can't explain that to a 4-year-old.
No.
Daddy gotta work.
No, you can't.
For you.
Yeah.
Daddy don't got time for me.
I try to explain. I try to explain the business to them. I know my 9-year-old. He's getting it now. I remember the first time where we actually did a flip, and he was like, "You going to the property again?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why?" And then I was like, so I took a knee. I sat down with him, and I was like, "Hey, listen, let me explain to you what a flip is." So I explained what the flip is, right? So, but I had to explain it into the context. So I used, so that he'll understand. So I used toys, right? So I said, hey, at the time he was into this little toy. So I go, imagine if you found that toy, and imagine this toy that you've always wanted. It's worth like, let's just say $500. Okay? You find this toy, right, on the street. So you take the toy, but it's all damaged. It's all like whatever. But you find people that can fix it, repaint it and everything. Now it's worth like $1,200 or whatever. It's worth $1,000. It's worth more than $500 now. He's like, so you did that. Imagine you did that and you sold it for more. He's like, oh, I get it. So that's what we're doing.
That's
so
a great way of putting it for him.
So I had to use.
That's an awesome way of doing that, man.
Because you know they don't understand.
No.
That we're doing it for them. So it's like, okay, how do I share this love with them? So what we'll do is, like, if we do purchase something like another property or something, we'll take them out. So we'll be like, hey, you know what? Guess what paid for that toy? And then we'll tell them, like, maybe the refinance or maybe the cash flow or whatever. But see, that's what I try to teach them.
That's great, man.
Like,
that's
money coming
you
in.
put it in a great way for him to understand. And you know, I'm sure you're super happy that you're flexible with your time now.
Oh my gosh.
You're not doing the 9 to 5 grind.
Yeah.
And you know how many people that I encounter on a daily that like are doing the 9 to 5 grind? And kudos to them. It's not easy.
Oh, we've done it.
Yeah, we've done it.
I've done it.
Jumping on the car, going to Toronto,
rough. Yeah,
like
it was
getting
challenging.
stuck in traffic and dealing with all kinds of obstacles and stuff in the way. It's not easy, and like to be there for your to be there for your family, to be there for investments and all that. You know what I mean? Like it's tough, but being self-employed, the flexibility is great.
It is.
But you know, like I said, if you try to excel in one thing, you know what I mean, and you're focused, you know, laser focus on one thing, another thing will there'll be a void, right? So you gotta kind of do your best to balance, especially if you're a family man or a family woman. Yeah. If you're single, you can go to 1,000,000 miles per hour.
Well, you have no ties.
You know, you don't have no ties.
You can do.
You could be in a McLaren F-150. You could be an F-150, 100 miles per hour.
100 miles per
collision
hour.
course.
Yeah.
And I know agents that are single that, you know, and I'm just like, I look at their life and I look at my life and I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, you have that value. I have this value. I wouldn't trade my value for your value. You chose that path. I chose this path.
That's it.
But at the end of the day, maybe they have a void too, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So like, you know, when you focus too much on one thing, so my wife always grounds me. I don't know if your wife does that for you, but she always grounds me like.
No, explain.
Like grounds me like, your son has waited all day to see you.
Oh shoot!
Like, you know those ones, right? Like, your son's been waiting all day to see you, and don't get mad at him. He's trying to get your attention. Don't latch out at him.
Yeah.
And like, you come home from a long day's work, and like, you got stuff happening, right? And like, you just want to sit down and relax, and your son's just trying to get your attention, just jumping on you. You know what I mean? You've been there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just like, calm down. And my son's name is Mickey. He's like, calm down, Mickey. Relax. and then he gets mad. You know what I mean? Like, Daddy doesn't love me. You're like, come on, man. Like, I love you. But she grounds me to the point that she's like, listen, he waits around all day just to see you for an hour.
Yeah, man.
And it hits me, you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, there's someone that waits around all day just to play with me.
That's it. And
all they care about is to play with you.
Yeah.
And to take him to the park. And when he was, a little bit younger, he used to run to the door when he used to see me. Daddy's home,
Yeah, man.
And that's the best feeling in the world.
I was just going to say, so going back to your friend that's single, like, that's the thing that he hasn't experienced yet. That's the thing where us dads, like, it's
invaluable.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Like, that feeling.
Oh my goodness.
You can't express enough that feeling. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, that feeling of when you're going home, you get so much crap happening, shit happening. Let's just be real.
A shitty day.
And your son comes and hugs you,
or
your daughter, you feel your daughter's hug, or your wife's caress. It just takes all the pain away.
It does.
And then you're like, okay, I'll deal with that. That's nothing.
Yeah.
This is important.
This is important.
That's not important, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's amazing feeling. Like, the investor stuff is great. You're busting your ass. You're doing it for the why. And the why is your wife. The why is for your kids.
I am.
But it is fun doing this stuff.
It is fun.
It's super fun.
It is fun. Besides putting all the nightmares and the gray clouds, it's at the end of the day, it's really fun.
It's super fun. It's like it doesn't feel like work, really, right? Like, it feels like every day is a new journey. No 2 days are the same.
No, every day's different.
It's different than your 9 to 5 grind
it is different.
You check your emails at 9 a.m.
That's it.
You make your phone calls at 10, and it's just a routine thing.
That's it.
Routine, I think, is good, but not for the entrepreneurial spirit, I don't think. Routine may be good for like a workout regime or something like that, right? When you're trying to build something. But an entrepreneur needs to always be challenged, don't you think, John? Like, that challenge of, okay, this is a new challenge.
Yeah.
Going from a fourplex.
Yeah.
Talking about challenges.
Yep.
To an 8-plex. You doubled up.
Yeah.
What's the next one's going to be a 24 unit.
Yeah.
The next one's going to be a 48 unit, right? You're like, I'm jumping up. You're like, oh.
It's too much. It's too much.
but
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The challenges
Yeah.
that come from a 4 unit are different than the challenges that come from an 8 unit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you definitely learn off your first one.
Exactly.
So it gets you each one that you do, like your stripes, when you earn your stripes, you learn off your stripes. And then so now it's so one of the best advice I've ever gotten was take the emotion out. Just it's a business, right? So if something happens, shit hits the fan, well, whatever. There's really no point in pouting about it, right?
No.
You just do with it, you deal with it, and then you fix it.
That's
right?
That's amazing. That's
so
amazing.
you just earn your stripes, and you get better, and you get better at each because you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
And we know this.
Mm-hmm.
It's nonstop learning. Even
It's
right
nonstop,
now, we're learning as we go. We're learning like as you speak. That's real estate investing.
100%.
It's constantly learning, but entrepreneurship, it's constantly learning because you will eventually, want to, you're gonna want to scale, right? So it's just constantly learning. I think that's the cool part.
Exactly. Exactly. And
yeah.
and you hit the nail on the head when you say when stuff happens, you deal with it.
Yes.
When the puzzle breaks, you just find the pieces and you put it back together, right? Like, I think the main thing about being an entrepreneur is problem solving.
Oh yeah.
Solving problems.
Yeah.
Because you're not just gonna have one problem.
No, you have
multiple. There's a saying: when shit hits the fan,
it does.
Shit's all over the room.
Oh, it does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and you're trying to clean shit from places that you never thought shit would hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And again, the overwhelming, it will. Again, it's easy to fall apart, but you're wearing that entrepreneur hat, so it's like, okay, let's say shit does hit the fan, grab everything and put it all in order, and just like focus on this, focus on that, focus on this, don't focus on the whole thing, because then that's when anxiety comes in, that's when stress comes in.
Exactly.
It's not worth it.
Exactly. And you know what, you've already touched on if giving some advice for people that are starting out, right? That was going to be one of my questions. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to ask is what's next for Jon? You guys, you've taken on the big beast of the 8 unit. Mm-hmm. Are you guys looking to do scale up? Are you looking to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Always.
Eventually,
always looking up now. Always trying to scale. We have besides real estate, we have 3. We're working on 3 things right now. But we're balancing that out. But we're also focusing on trying to scale and trying to help others.
That's great.
We're thinking about, it's still in the pipelines. We're just thinking about trying to help other people with providing tools. So Dijon we like to help people.
That's awesome.
So I think, we're working on something just to help people.
Beautiful.
Provide them
some value to their experience.
Like a Swiss Army knife kind of a thing.
Oh, wow.
It's just like, hey, here, like let's help you out.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. So, is that with that's starting with the gatherings? I'm guessing. And
no, this is actually new. I haven't.
Oh, this is new.
This is like brand.
So you're hearing it first.
You're hearing it first.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got these are great visionary. So she likes to come up with ideas, and we're like, hey, we'll think about it, we'll look at it, put it all of our ideas will work, but it's just like having the time to execute it, right?
For sure.
And that's where I come in, so I'll execute it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've got a couple of things on the go.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, but I think the main thing that I'm falling in love with is this one where we're just trying to give back and trying to help entrepreneurs like yourself, just how to stay focused, how to remember, like what I've learned recently is, and remember, motivation is temporary. Mm-hmm. So you get pumped, freaking juiced and pumped, like reading a Grant Cardone book or like a podcast. And like, all right, let's do it. Let's take over the world. And then like the next day, you're just like, you know what? I'll do it tomorrow. You know what? I'll do it next week. But it's just like that's the thing, right? That's what you. How do you stay focused? How do you stay motivated, right? So that's just like kind of the tools that we want to try to provide too, is to help like entrepreneurs like ourselves.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Man.
so
that's
we're working
awesome.
on
Like
it.
I'm looking forward to what you guys got in store.
Yeah.
We're following all the great stuff you guys are doing.
Oh, thanks.
I love your stuff, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And you guys gotta follow his stuff. Dijon. You gotta follow it.
You can follow us, yeah. But I think that's what brings us together is like the stuff and the content that you guys come out with too, right? Is just like it's sensational. So I tip my hat to Carrie.
I'm gonna be putting his link in the bio underneath the description. Follow him. He's got some amazing content. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's valuable. Guys, it's not the boring cookie cutter stuff, and that's what brings
Thank you
us together.
That exactly.
Because we're not doing that cookie cutter stuff.
Yeah.
If you want that stuff, tune into a different channel. We want to give you the raw, uncut stuff, the funny, valuable stuff. Okay, and like I watch your stuff, man. And you're hilarious, man.
Thank you.
I gotta give it to you. You're killing me. And your wife is probably like, man, John, what's going on? You're like doing the little dance behind it. That was a funny video. I'm like, that's something I would do. To capture that on camera was hilarious,
Thank
man.
you, man.
And like that's the kind of stuff like, you know what?
Raw stuff.
And that's what brings other people's guards down, right? And it makes them easy. It makes it easier to talk to you.
Cool.
And reach out to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, he's just like me, you know. He's cool, like he can joke around.
I'm approachable,
right?
man.
Yeah,
I am.
And that's the thing, right?
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
you know, when you eventually do any events, I'm sure you'll have a full gathering of people coming because they do follow that, right? Mm-hmm. Social media is huge.
Right.
Everybody's watching on social media.
Yeah.
The lovers, the haters.
Well, like you said, it doesn't turn off, right?
It never turns off, and you're on 24/7. I actually
24/7.
talked to one of my clients, and they're like, "Yeah, we see all your stuff on TikTok." I'm like, I'm following you. They're like, no, we're following you. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's great.
And you get that at meetups.
Yeah,
Like you don't see the people that are following you.
No.
Right? And it's kind of neat. It's kind of it's insurance that you're saying, you know what, I'm on the right path.
I'm on the right path.
I'm doing it right.
And it's super fun. It's super fun. It's super fun.
It is, right?
You
It
know,
is.
like,
It is.
And you got a right team. You know, shout out to Carity.
Yeah, man.
You know, he's a man.
He's an
on
artist.
this. He's an artist.
He is an
He
artist.
you know,
he's
I love him
he
long
is an
time. He
artist.
knows that.
Yeah. And I admire your partnership, both
Yeah,
you guys.
yeah.
Because like I feel that you guys can take over the world.
I told him that we're Batman and Robin. He's like, no, call me Rob Winder. I'm like, okay, I'll call you Rob Winder. I love this guy. Me and him joke around a lot. But man, thanks so much for coming on the podcast,
man.
man.
I
it was
love
super
being here,
fun,
man. It's so
you know
comfortable.
what? Like
love
it's
Yeah.
we got to do this again. We're gonna we gotta do some event. We gotta do some stuff, man.
Well, yeah, man. I gotta take you up on that event.
Let's do it up, man. You know what?
Yeah,
like I'm looking at this as like we can help people. We can learn stuff ourselves, and we can help expand our networks, right? And what we can offer to each other,
No
right?
doubt.
You've started it, and I admire it, and others have started it, and I'm also working with others and building it. Let's build
good
it
for you,
together,
man.
right?
Good for
Like
you.
because we don't have enough of it, you know. And I remember when I was starting out, and you probably remember, it's lonely. You don't have no one to ask any questions
is.
to. Well, like you could
Yeah,
only
it
go
is.
online, you fall
Yeah.
down this rabbit hole of like answers, and you're just like, oh my god, maybe I won't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow.
But is that the like I know and is that the right path? Like is it like
No,
imagine
it's-
being a new investor and you do fall into that. You could come up with the wrong decision. Right.
You come up with the wrong decision, or you come up with a lot of conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah. It's
The
tough.
world is ending.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, we got to jump out of this investment because like the world is going to end tomorrow.
Yeah, you know the Illuminati and the Freemasons.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But thanks so much, brother.
Oh my god.
It was
Thank you.
a lot of fun, and
Yeah, it
we're
was a
gonna
lot
do a
of
lot
fun.
of stuff together. Thank you so much.